Day 2 of Prime Minister Modi's whirlwind Tokyo tour. The Prime Minister and leaders of the United States, Japan and Australia attended the second in-person meeting of the Quad leaders, during which they exchanged views about developments in the Indo-Pacific region and global issues of mutual interest. Delivering his opening remarks by hailing the alliance, the Prime Minister said that Quad had made an important place for itself before the world in a short span of time. He further said that the Quad scope has become extensive while reiterating the shared goal of a free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific region. The Quad was formed to counter China's influence in this region. China has been fuming against the Quad summit, calling it a failed agenda. On the Quad's agenda today will be a range of varied topics, from post-COVID recovery, the Ukraine war, climate change. The main message is to serve a warning to China and its aggression tactics. US President Joe Biden has already hardened his stance, saying that US is ready to arm Taiwan in its defense against China's aggression.
Excellencies, इतने कम समय में क्वाड समूह ने विश्व पटल पर एक महत्वपूर्ण स्थान बना लिया है। आज क्वाड का स्कोप व्यापक हो गया है और स्वरूप प्रभावी हो गया है। हमारा आपसी विश्वास, हमारा डिटर्मिनेशन लोकतांत्रिक शक्तियों को नई ऊर्जा और उत्साह दे रहा है। क्वाड के स्तर पर हमारे आपसी सहयोग से एक फ्री, ओपन और इंक्लूसिव इंडो पैसिफिक क्षेत्र को प्रोत्साहन मिल रहा है। कोविड-19 की विपरीत परिस्थितियों के बावजूद हमने वैक्सीन डिलीवरी, क्लाइमेट एक्शन, सप्लाई चेन रेजिलियंस, डिजास्टर रिस्पांस और आर्थिक सहयोग जैसे कई क्षेत्रों में आपसी समन्वय बढ़ाया है। इससे इंडो पैसिफिक में शांति, समृद्धि और स्थिरता सुनिश्चित हो रही है। क्वाड इंडो पैसिफिक क्षेत्र के लिए एक कंस्ट्रक्टिव एजेंडा लेकर चल रहा है। इससे क्वाड की छवि एक फोर्स फॉर गुड के रूप में और भी सुदृढ़ होती जाएगी।
Prime Minister Modi, it's wonderful to see you again in person. Thank you for your continuing commitment to making sure democracies deliver, because that's what this is about, democracies versus autocracies, and we have to make sure we deliver.
Our Foreign Affairs Editor Geeta Mohan is with us. Also, Paulimi Saha, my colleague, is tracking all of those details. Our Deputy Editor joining us from Tokyo. First to you, Geeta. China, as always, continues to be at the heart of discussions. The China factor really is at the heart of the meeting that has taken place between these countries, isn't it?
Absolutely. The Indo-Pacific theater and their focus on a free and inclusive Indo-Pacific with like-minded countries coming together, Sneha, has been to contain China and Chinese aggression. But look at the response that we've seen for the IPEF, that's the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity, that was launched yesterday by President Biden, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi partook in the launch event. And that certainly did not go down well with Beijing. So Beijing is monitoring the entire development very closely. We will be looking at and waiting for the communique that will be out in some time from now. While China has not been named in the past, we will again have to see how they direct all the subjects to containing China, whether it is cybersecurity, maritime security, maritime public awareness in the domain of maritime, resilient supply chains, post-COVID recovery, all of that is focused on how to contain China. So yes, China is a big factor, but there's also this idea of how these big democracies can come together to secure the future of all the other countries in the Indo-Pacific region, Sneha.
That's right, Geeta. Also, Paulimi continues to be with us. Paulimi, all eyes importantly are on the one-on-one bilateral talk between Prime Minister Modi and President Joseph Biden, undoubtedly a step forward to further strengthen the mutual ties between both the countries. Give us an idea about what is going to be on top of the agenda as far as India's bilateral with America is concerned.
That's right. After the Quad summit has now concluded, the focus, at least for India, shifts to the big bilateral meeting that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will have in a short while from now, in 1 hour's time from now, with US President Joe Biden. That is going to be the big focus, and it is a half-hour meeting which has been slotted between the two heads of state. And what we're expecting is that the subject of Ukraine is also likely to come up over there. Remember that India has had a very balanced position, has maintained a very balanced position as far as the conflict in Ukraine is concerned. We have, of course, said that India supports immediate cessation of violence and hostilities in the region, and it wants dialogue and discussion to be the way forward. And that is something that we've stated at various fora since Russia invaded Ukraine in February. Now, also, the fact is that the US has always has wanted more and more countries to come on board with the United States and with Europe as well, in order to publicly and categorically condemn Russia. India has not exactly done the same. India has faced some criticism earlier about its position vis-a-vis import of oil and gas from Russia as well. And what we've done now categorically is explain to the world why our position is so and what our interests are exactly, and why do we in fact continue to maintain this very balanced approach towards what has happened. And we do not support any violence. We do not support any sort of aggressive behavior by anyone. But there is a way forward to this, and that is the way forward in terms of dialogue and discussion, something which was clarified by External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar when he visited Washington, D.C. for the 2+2 dialogue in April as well. And now, of course, the U.S. understands that, because ahead of President Biden's visit, when in fact the White House press secretary was asked about, India's position, so to say, vis-a-vis Ukraine, they did state that they do understand that certain countries have their own interests, have their own histories, because of which they've taken the positions that they have. And President Biden, of course, will continue to make his position very clear and, of course, enunciate that in face-to-face meetings, as he's likely to do in the meeting with Prime Minister Modi. But there is no imposition of the US view on India. So India's view is understood very clearly by the United States, and why it holds that view as well, the reasoning behind it as well. So that is going to be one of the key areas of conversation. Also, we're expecting that the reference to China and its growing aggression is going to be a part of that conversation as well, as it would have been during the 2-hour-long Quad summit as well. We might not hear mention of it directly in the joint communique, which is released by the Quad countries in a short while from now. But it definitely has come up for conversation, and it has been one of the key focuses areas as far as these countries are concerned, because in some way or the other, these countries have been at the receiving end of China's growing aggression. And that is something that will be, in fact, possibly discussed as well in that meeting that the United States and China are to, that the United States and India are to have as Prime Minister Modi and US President Joe Biden meet.
Paulmi, thanks for getting us up to speed with all of those developments. Of course, all eyes are on the meeting today between US President Joe Biden and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. These are bilateral talks. Like you were saying, this is undoubtedly a step forward to further strengthen mutual ties between both of these countries. The talks will be, in all likelihood, remember, on the post-COVID-19 pandemic recovery. How are these countries going to be joining hands to do it? Building on health security, climate change, and creating a resilient US-India supply chain. All world leaders, both of them in this case, have been in regular contact through virtual and in-person meetings. The two have met virtually on at least 3 occasions. The Quad Virtual Summit in March 2021, the Climate Change Summit in April 2021, and G7 Summit in June 2021. The first in-person meeting between both the leaders took place in September last year, when President Biden welcomed Modi in the Oval Office of the White House. This was the onset of a new chapter in US-India relationship. Geeta continues to be with us. Geeta, also it's important to focus on the constructive bit of what really is going to be on the agenda, the kind of areas that require mutual cooperation, health security, recovery during the post-pandemic period, disaster management and economic cooperation. These are the things that are going to come up for discussion between both these leaders.
Absolutely, Sneha. Apart from the Quad Summit, where they're looking at common areas, a senior White House official also said that there are differences, and those differences have to be managed with the commonalities of the four democracies. But after that, like you very rightly said, there are four very important bilaterals to begin with President Biden, followed by the Australian Prime Minister, who's just taken office, then the former Prime Minister Suga, and then the Japanese Prime Minister Kishida. So the focus areas for every country is going to be very different, beginning with the US president, wherein, like Paulomi was saying, Ukraine certainly will figure, Russia-Ukraine war. But again, US has understood and accepted India's stance to a question on the fact that India has not openly condemned Russia. A senior White House official again said that India has its own interests to look at and its own outlooks. So respecting New Delhi's decision on the stand that New Delhi has taken, it is very rare of the United States of America, but that has happened. Why? Because it's a very important strategic partnership that India and the United States of America share. So we're looking at the strategic aspect of conversations between the two sides. Defense is going to be very important. Trade is a very important aspect. We are still to come up with a free trade agreement that is going to be all comprehensive. That certainly has not happened, but both sides moving towards maybe a smaller, more doable deal between the two sides. The cybersecurity and technology front also very important. So there are many aspects, including climate, which Joe Biden is very passionate about, Sneha. So these are aspects that will be covered during the bilateral talks between Prime Minister Modi and President Biden. The entire ambit of relations between the two countries, but there are concerns, and US certainly is going to talk about those concerns, particularly to do with Ukraine and Russia. And India, again, has always reiterated its stand that it is not going to take sides, and diplomatic engagement is the only way forward.
Diplomatic engagements, the only way forward, and there has been a lot of engagement as far as the Quad Summit is concerned. This is the second in-person Quad Summit. The leaders have met in the past, and the constructive discussions is going to be around health security, around the pandemic, around economic recovery, and also, like we spoke about this earlier, China continues to be at the center of the summit as always. China, of course, has been fuming at the Quad Summit, calling it a failure already. Geeta, thanking you for the moment. I'm also thanking Paulomi Saha for getting us all of those details. All eyes on the Varanasi court as it reserved its order in the Gyanvapi Mosque case. Today, the judge is expected to give his decision on how the hearing is going to be conducted and how the matter will progress before the district court. The points to be taken up will be decided by the court judge Ajay Kumar Vishwesh. Apart from this, 3 additional suits have been filed. The Mosque Management Committee has opposed the civil judge's order to seal Wazukhana after a shivling was reportedly found. 5 women have filed an additional suit seeking worship of the alleged shivling found inside the Gyanvapi Wuzu pond. Another petition has sought alternative arrangements for the Wuzukhana. The Muslim side has rejected all claims, saying that Gyanvapi was a mosque and is going to be remain. Abhishek Mishra continues to be with us on that big story. The controversy, of course, not dying down anytime soon. And like the court has said, the apex court has said, the district court is now going to deliberate on this further as per protocol. The court is doing it clearly today. All eyes on the Varanasi court there. Abhishek.
Well, certainly, Sneha, all eyes on the Varanasi court today, and the judge has listened to both the sides yesterday, a 45-minute hearing, and has kept his decision secured for now. We're expecting that to be revealed around 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the court will again set up. And at the same time, it is very important how yesterday the Muslim side very keen on having it under Order 7 and Rule 11, making it clear that first there should be discussion as far as the maintainability of the suit is concerned. But on the other hand, the Hindu side was arguing and requesting for the fact that whatever the report and the survey has been done, they should be provided with the copy, and that should be taken into consideration first. So both the arguments were heard, and today when this important decision will come out, it will actually decide the further course of action, how these cases are going to go ahead, whether the judge decides to go with the 7-11 first, or will simultaneously be hearing both the suits. So that is one thing. But importantly, as far as the time frame is concerned, because the Supreme Court has provided a time frame of 6 to 8 weeks, so the whole proceeding has to be finished by the time. So just a wait of the afternoon when the important decision will come out as far as this today's hearing and the proceeding further is concerned. Yes.
Abhishek, thanking you for the moment. We have some news just coming in. Let's go straight to that. Well, in line with the Gyanvapi Mosque showdown, similar demands for surveying mosques in Karnataka has also surfaced. This after a video emerged of a Hindu temple-like architectural design that was discovered in the premises of an old mosque in Mangaluru on April. Well, Hindu group VHP has raised doubts on whether this mosque was constructed over a temple. India Today is the first to access the visuals. Take a look at this detailed report.
Raging faith fight over mandir versus masjid. Amid shriveling fountain face-off in Varanasi, a Gyanvapi-like war is echoing in Karnataka over what saffron groups believe the remnants of an ancient temple. Recovered from under the Malali Mosque in Karnataka's Mangaluru, the debris of an unmissable Hindu temple-like architectural design surfaced during the renovation of the Juma Masjid. India Today is the only channel to access the interior of the structure.
Currently, investigations already underway, and a DC is expected to produce a report on the same very soon. Pro-Hindu outfits have said that they will perform a puja in the village to go ahead with the project or not. Now, the matter still is in the court, and the court has already said that status quo has to be maintained, and the DC's report regarding this is still awaited.
The discovery of the structure, which closely resembles Hindu relics and ornate work on stone, surcharged Karnataka's political scene. Hindu groups vouch that an ancient temple used to stand where the mosque is now located. The VHP has asked the local administration to stop the mosque's renovation till the debris is verified. The BJP is planning a ritual inside the wreckage to determine if they belong to a temple.
ಮಳಲಿಯ ಏನು ಮಸೀದಿ ನವೀಕರಣ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನದ ಕಟ್ಟಡದ ರೀತಿಯ ಒಂದು ಕಟ್ಟಡ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗೋಚರವಾದ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದೇನೋ ಜಿಲ್ಲಾಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಮನವಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಹಾಗೆ ಕಾನೂನು ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಹೋರಾಟವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಅದೇ ಆ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದ ದೇವರ ಸಾನ್ನಿಧ್ಯನ ತಿಳಿಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನತಕ್ಕ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಹಿರಿಯರ ಸಮ್ಮುಖದಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಸ್ಥಳೀಯ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರೆಲ್ಲ ಹಿರಿಯರಿದ್ದಾರೆ,
ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಅಹಿತಕರ ಘಟನೆ ನಡೀಬಾರದು ಅನ್ನೋ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿ ಸಿಬ್ಬಂದಿಗಳದ್ದು ಮತ್ತು ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಕಿಂಗ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿದು ಒಂದು ಡಿಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಂದೋಬಸ್ತ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕರು ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಂದೂ ಮತ್ತು ಮುಸ್ಲಿಮರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದೇ ಊರಲ್ಲಿ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಅನ್ಯೋನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಜೀವನ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದ ಎರಡೂ ಗುಂಪುಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಅಶ್ಯೂರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅದೇನಿದೆ ಸತ್ಯಾಸತ್ಯತೆ ಪರಿಶೀಲನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಏನು ಕ್ರಮ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅದನ್ನು ಜಿಲ್ಲಾಡಳಿತ ತಗೋಬೇಕು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಬದ್ಧರಾಗಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಅಂತಂದು ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕರು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ತಹಸೀಲ್ದಾರ್ ಅವರ ಸೂಚನೆ ಮೇರೆಗೆ ಒಂದು ವಾರಗಳ ಕಾಲ ತಾತ್ಕಾಲಿಕವಾಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆಯುವಂಥ ಕೆಲಸನ.
The Muslim side is contesting the claims.
As an MLA, we have requested the district administration, the DC, district magistrate, to do a proper investigation into this and or hand over the case to the archaeological department.
Okay.
And give us a clear picture. What is the issue? Like, what is the structure? What kind of, whether a temple was there or a Jaina Basidi was there, we want to know. That's the whole issue.
Is another legal battle looming over Mangaluru's Gyanvapi moment? With Karthik in Mangaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
Clamor to reclaim the iconic Qutub Minar is growing louder. Delhi court is all set to hear the plea for restoration of Hindu-Jain deities in Qutub Minar complex today. Amid the controversy, offering namaz has been banned in Qutub Minar complex. Remember, the suit was filed on behalf of Jain deity Tirthankar Lord Rishabhdev and Hindu deity Lord Vishnu by advocates Hari Shankar Jain and Ranjana Agnihotri. It cited a short history displayed by the Archaeological Survey of India, which claimed that 27 Hindu and Jain temples in Qutub Minar, which were demolished, and Quwwat-ul-Islam Mosque was raised inside the complex, reusing these materials. The suit also claims that pictures of Hindu deities, symbols like Kalash and Holy Lotus has been found in the Qutub Minar. On the 18th of April, the court directed the ASI not to remove 2 idols of Lord Ganesh from Qutub Minar complex.
सीधा ही कह दिया हमसे तो कि आप यहाँ नमाज मत पढ़िए, कुछ भी नहीं कहा, बस ऐसे ही कह दिया कि नमाज मत पढ़िए यहाँ पे। हमने कहा क्यों, कि ऊपर से ऑर्डर आया नमाज मत पढ़िए यहाँ पे। अचानक ही एकदम, क्योंकि मैं बहुत अच्छी तरह से प्यार से मोहब्बत से सब लोगों से अच्छी तरह रहते हैं हम, कोई परेशानी नहीं हुई, कभी कोई दिक्कत नहीं हुई, बस ये कह दिया उन्होंने।
आप कितने सालों से वहाँ नमाज हो रही है?
40 साल हो गए मुझे।
आपको 40 साल हो गए, और आपका अपॉइंटमेंट दिल्ली वक्फ बोर्ड में?
दिल्ली वक्फ बोर्ड से है।
अच्छा, और अभी कब से मना किया है सर आपको ये?
13 मई जुमे के दिन।
जुमे के दिन आपको मना कर दिया, तो उसके बाद नमाज नहीं हो रही है?
नहीं हो रही है।
एएसआई ने उन्हें कभी कोई परमिशन नहीं दी कि आप यहाँ नमाज पढ़ सकते हैं, तो जब उन्होंने परमिशन ही नहीं दी तो फिर वो नमाज अदा नहीं कर सकते वहाँ। लेकिन ये ज़रूर है कि वर्षों से वहाँ पूजा हो रही थी, उस पर रोक लगा दी गई पिछली सरकार में, और जो एएसआई विभाग के लोग हैं, मेरी भी उनसे बात हुई है और उन्होंने उस बातचीत में ये कहा कि यहाँ पर नमाज नहीं होती, इस तरह की हमने कोई परमिशन नहीं दी है।
Qutub Minar is a very well known fact again, that Quwwat-ul-Islam Mosque was constructed after demolishing 27 temples, which Qutbuddin Aibak himself put a plaque over there in stone, which still exists. ASI has put a detailed this information about it. We all know about it. So again, it's not a revelation. So what new have you found? Second, you are trying to play mischief by creating the whole complex, a controversy around the whole complex, including Qutub Minar, including Alai Darwaza, including Iltutmish's tomb over there, which is part of this structure. So that complex came up gradually over 200-300 years.
इस केस में हमने कहा है कि यहाँ पहले 27 हिंदू जैन मंदिर हुआ करते थे, जिन्हें कुतुबुद्दीन ऐबक ने तोड़कर मस्जिद बनाई। हमने ये प्रेयर की कि हमारे मंदिरों को रिस्टोर किया जाए, हिंदुओं को यहाँ पूजा करने की परमिशन दी जाए, और साथ ही सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को डायरेक्शन दी जाए कि एक ट्रस्ट क्रिएट करें जो मंदिर की देखरेख करें। इस केस में माननीय डिस्ट्रिक्ट जज ने एएसआई को डायरेक्शन दी कि यहाँ पर जो भगवान गणेश जी की मूर्तियां मिली वो यहाँ से कहीं शिफ्ट नहीं की जाएंगी, यही रहेंगी।